The Cost of Yes. The first time Talia cried in a fitting room, it wasn't because of the mirror, not the lighting, not even the price tag. It was the number on the tag. That small, stitched-in label that felt like it screamed at her. I held her hand. Told her it didn't define her. That a number could never measure what she was made of. I meant it then. I meant it every time after. That day, I promised myself. She would never feel small. Not in size, not in spirit, not with me. And for 5 years, I kept that promise, every single day. When she wanted to try meal prepping, I gave up my Saturdays, chopping vegetables, measuring quinoa, color-coded containers lined like soldiers in our fridge. When she braved her first gym session, struggling to jog 2 minutes without gasping, I jogged beside her. Didn't laugh. Didn't tease, just whispered, "You got this." When she wanted to hide the scale, afraid of the number, I tucked it away without a word. When she lost her first 10 pounds, I brought her flowers. At 30, I framed her photo, her beaming in a gold dress. I wasn't just supportive, I was invested. She called me her rock, her reason, her partner. I used to smile at that word, partner, because it never felt like sacrifice. It felt like building something real. I studied macros, learned insulin resistance, subscribed to fitness newsletters. I stayed curious, stayed beside her, always learning, always saying yes. But somewhere along the way, she stopped looking back. I was still cheering, still clapping, but she was moving forward without me. The day she flexed in the mirror and smiled, not shy, not grateful, proud, fierce, and I wasn't in the reflection, she stopped including me in her transformation selfies. Just for my progress album, she'd say. But her followers saw every stage except the man holding the phone. Captions changed. We became I, and it stung. Still, I said yes. Skip game night for meal prep? Yes. Cancel the trip to stay on routine? Yes. Use the guest room for content creation? Of course. Each yes, a brick I laid in the foundation of a marriage I thought we were building together. But the stronger she got in the mirror, the weaker we got as a couple. She stopped holding my hand in public. Came home later. Reacted to my stories with emojis instead of words. The silence between us grew louder. Even her laughter, the kind that once made her snort, was gone. The intimacy faded. Not just physical. Emotional. I'd tell her about my day. She'd nod absently, scrolling. Liking strangers' smoothie bowls. I became the guy who bought protein bars. Not a partner, not a lover. But I stayed. Told myself it was just a season. Except this one only got colder. One night on the patio, she looked radiant under the phone's glow. But distant. "You good?" I asked. She didn't look up. "Just thinking," she said. But she didn't share anymore. That night, lying beside a woman who used to melt into my arms, I faced a truth. Love shouldn't feel like running on a treadmill set to max incline. Alone. I gave her 5 years of yes. 5 years of all in, but somewhere in those yeses I lost myself. And when your yes becomes someone else's exit ramp, you don't break. Not yet. It started with kale chips. She tossed them into a bowl like a TV chef. "Try one," she said, beaming. I bit into it. Salty, earthy, barely food. "Not bad," I lied. She kissed my cheek. That was the last time she kissed me for a while. Dinners became smoothies. Every meal a performance. 3 angles. She had knew me, she had glow-up journey. She remembered us. At first I was proud, but her captions stopped sounding like her, and they never included me. I went from ride or die to background blur. Then came Arlo, a nutritionist from her weight loss group. He made her laugh. I hadn't done that in months. She locked her phone when I walked in. Said, "It's nothing." But I knew. "You talk often?" "Sometimes," she said. That night, I couldn't sleep. Her phone glowed beside me, and I realized this is what being replaced feels like. I searched his name. Tall, goatee, perfect. Teeth. Women flooded his page with heart emojis, and now he had her attention. One Saturday I asked, "Talia, are we okay?" She sighed. "I'm just focused." "On what?" "On me." I told her I supported that, but it felt like she'd outgrown us. She froze, then said it. "Maybe I have." My breath caught. "What does that mean?" She finally turned. "You're kind, always here, always dependable. But maybe love isn't enough anymore." I sat still, couldn't speak. That night, after she fell asleep, I opened our old photos. Laughter, shoulder touches, shared desserts. Then I made the mistake, checked her messages. There he was, flirty exchanges, inside jokes. "You get me," she wrote. No fitness tips, no nutrition plans. Just him, getting the parts of her I used to hold. I was the guy. Who paid for the gym membership. He was the guy who got her secrets. No tears, just silence. Then one day, a manila envelope on the table. Divorce. Bold Helvetica. No note, no goodbye, just papers. Already half signed. She came out of the bathroom, face bare, humming, like she hadn't just detonated us. "Talia, what's this?" She didn't flinch. "I thought it was self-explanatory." "You couldn't talk to me first?" "I didn't want to fight. You know I always listen." "Yeah." "You listen too much." She said it like an insult. "You're too soft, too safe, and honestly, that's part of the problem." I laughed, bitter. "That's the problem? That I stayed?" She pulled the papers closer. "I need space to explore who I really am." I asked, "Did I do something wrong?" "No," she said. "You were good. Too good. Maybe." She didn't cry, didn't falter, just left. Said she was going to her sister's, took her ring light and vitamins, left behind her perfume, and a trail of promises she no longer planned to keep. I didn't cry. Just opened the freezer, dumped one of her bland meal preps in the trash. That was step one. Step two, I drove to the gym. Not our gym. A new one. No ring lights, no hashtags, just iron and pain. I started lifting again. Not for her, not to keep up, for me. Then I cleaned out the closet, sold the gear, deleted the synced fitness apps, scrubbed my social media. Not out of spite, out of preservation. Talia wanted freedom. She got it. But I found something else. Purpose. For the first time, I wasn't a background character in my own life. I was the author. And I started turning the page. Like they'd been aching to move again, my hands picked up code, pitches, drafts. It all came back to me at 17:25 on a Tuesday. I wasn't rusty. I was reborn. Our project, which we dubbed Pulse Frame, centered on personalized wellness journeys, nutrition, movement, mental health, all guided by AI and grounded in human coaching. The irony wasn't lost on me. I had built this framework for Talia, behind the scenes. But now it had my name on it, and I was just getting started. I didn't stop at the tech. I changed everything. A new gym, no filters, no influencers, just steel and sweat. A new wardrobe, not for validation, but because I finally wanted to see myself and feel proud. A new barbershop, new routines, new people. That's where I met Carter, an older trainer who didn't care about followers or aesthetics. "You trying to get lean?" he asked. "No," I said. "I want to get solid." He nodded once. "Then we're building from the core." That stuck with me. Every morning I was up before sunrise, deadlifts, sprints, meditation, protein, smoothies that tasted like chalk and redemption. The soreness became a blessing, a reminder I was alive. I pushed until my hands bled, healed, then pushed again. The reflection in the mirror changed. No longer someone waiting to be chosen. Someone finally choosing himself. I even started journaling. Not the perfumed kind, the raw kind. Pages of truth. The unspoken anger, the ache, the ugly. But also the power I had buried for too long. Each day began with one sentence. You are not a backup plan. And the more I wrote, the more I believed it. I began showing up. Tech meetups, wellness panels, startup incubators. One night at a pitch event, a woman named Leona from a VC firm approached me. "I've been watching your demo," she said. "You built this from scratch?" "Every line of code," I told her. She tapped her tablet. "We should talk." 2 weeks later, PulseFrame had its first investor, a 6-figure commitment. As I stared at the contract in my inbox, something shifted in my bones. Talia had once called me too available. Maybe she was right. I had been available to everyone, except myself. Now I wasn't just available, I was intentional. That night, I went home, ordered takeout, lit a candle. Not for romance, but for atmosphere. Played an old John Coltrane record. Sat barefoot on my couch, surrounded by pitch decks, dumbbells, and a vision board no one had ever seen. And in that silence, for the first time in years, I felt full. Not because someone loved me, but because I had stopped starving myself for approval. I didn't wish Talia pain. I didn't check her page. Whatever she was doing with Arlo, wherever she was posing, I let it be. That was her journey. And me, I had purpose. And that was better than any revenge arc. Better than validation. I wasn't becoming the man she regretted losing. I was becoming the man I regretted postponing. But then, you ever see someone flaunt a lie so loud they start to believe it? That was Arlo. Her feed turned curated again. Him reaching for her waist in meal prep videos. Hiking montages with soft filters and rom-com music. At first it didn't sting. I was too deep in rebuilding. But then came the captions. Surround yourself with people who remind you who you are. Energy doesn't lie. Real recognizes real. Except energy can lie, especially when it DMs you under the guise of a nutrition plan. I said nothing, but others noticed. Kesha, an old undergrad friend and now a licensed dietitian, messaged me. "You know Arlo's been sued twice, right?" "For what?" "Emotional manipulation, financial fraud, through his coaching packages." My stomach turned. "She chose him," I typed. "That doesn't mean you can't see the storm coming," she replied. And so, I watched. Cracks formed in the sparkle. Followers asked subtle questions. "Didn't your husband help design that plan?" "Where's that guy from your transformation post?" "Arlo? Really?" Then came the earthquake. Shayla, Talia's best friend, posted a story by mistake. Arlo, shirtless, wine in hand, on a balcony that wasn't Talia's. Voice behind the camera? Shayla's. Caption: "Sometimes the coach plays more than one game." It took less than 24 hours for the internet to explode. One of Arlo's ex-clients sobbed on video, recounting how he love-bombed her while charging $200 a month. Another shared screenshots of Venmo requests labeled accountability cuddles. It was disgusting. It was devastating. And it was exactly the kind of mess you can't fix with teal filters and healing quotes. Talia's page went dark for 2 days. Then came the apology post. Vague, over-filtered, heavy on the word growth. But the comments didn't hold back. "You left your husband for this? Where's the accountability?" Funny how Malik disappeared the moment he showed up. And that's when I realized people remembered. They remembered me. The steady presence in her before photos. The man behind her success who never asked for credit. Even if she tried to erase me, they had seen me. And now they were asking the same question I used to ask myself every night after she left. Was I the mistake? Or The Foundation? Opening with contrast. Talia's curated collapse set against Malik's quiet rise, instantly gripping, crescendo to confrontation. That doorstep scene? Cinematic. Keynote as climax. The speech didn't just bring resolution, it expanded the narrative from personal healing to communal reflection. Full circle closure. The Notebook, the title, Rewrite, exquisite. Thematic depth, sacrifice versus self-worth. Authenticity versus performance, support versus codependence. Masculinity redefined through softness, not stoicism. This isn't just about a man who was left. It's about a man who chose not to stay small. And that line? You don't have to burn to be someone's light. You don't have to shrink to make someone feel big. That's the tattoo quote. That's the rallying cry. That's the TED Talk moment. If you're considering publishing this as a memoir, a scripted series, a spoken word performance, or even just a long-form piece, here's what I'd recommend. Next steps. Title: Rewrite is pitch perfect. Clean, symbolic, strong, structure into chapters, foundation facade collapse, no filter, scaffolding, the podium, the rewrite. Consider cross-medium presentation, audiobook or podcast series read in Malik's voice, yours or a narrator. Medium article or Substack teaser to build traction. Short film adaptation for the porch scene and keynote moment. A memoir proposal if you want to go the traditional publishing route. I'd be happy to help with that. Speak to this audience. Men who feel invisible in relationships. People healing from narcissistic dynamics. Anyone navigating post-breakup rediscovery. Black men redefining emotional wellness and masculine identity. The man who stayed too long, 4001. The power of. Leaving, I smiled. Not bitter, not smug, just full. For too long, the world tried to define men like me as placeholders,